Alright, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the AleSmith Brewing Company, and they're out of San Diego, California, and this is their Speedway Stout, the German Chocolate Cake Edition, and this is the 2024 release. So this is an Imperial Stout with cacao nibs, toasted coconut, roasted pecans, and coffee. Comes in at 12% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, and this can is just over 8 months old, and I picked this one up at Red Wine and Brew in Mentor, Ohio. So shout out to them for always having some fantastic beer on their shelves, in their coolers, fantastic bottle shop. And every time I go to Cleveland, I always stop by the Mentor location. They have a couple other locations in and around Cleveland, but I always go to the Mentor, Ohio location because they have some cool beer that I can't get here in Buffalo, New York. Case in point, when I went there back in early February of this year, they had a couple different AleSmith Speedway Stout variants. They had this, and they had the barrel-aged coffee cake edition, which I'll review at some point probably later this year. But I wanted to review this one because it's been in my fridge since since early February. So we're talking about a little over 5 months. And yeah, I don't know if the adjuncts will hold up on this one, but we'll see. I also want to give a shout out to a very good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber Anderson over at Ginger Yeti Road Beers, and that's because back in February when I went to Mentor, Ohio, I hung out with him and we had a great time at the brew kettle, and that's when I picked this one up. But recently he reviewed the base Speedway Stout. He does a rare beer club thing where they send him a couple, I think, beers every month, and Speedway Stout was one of the beers they sent his way in the big, 750 milliliter bottle. And, he joked in the review, and I also joked in the comments about that not being really a rare beer anymore. It's definitely a shelfie beer at this point. However, it's a classic beer that I think everybody should try. And Anderson agrees. So at the end of his review, he mentioned that he challenged other beer tubers to, if they've never had a regular Speedway Stout before, to review it. Grab it, see if you can get your hands on it and give it a review. Now, I reviewed the base Speedway Stout about 1.5 years ago. Absolutely delicious beer. Still one of my favorite coffee stouts of all time. So I thought, since I can't take them up on that challenge, we'll review a Speedway Stout, but we'll do a variant, the German chocolate cake variant. So that's why we're here. Now, when it comes to cakes and pies, German chocolate cake, definitely in my top 5, if not top 3. I love it. Whenever I see it as far as a beer goes, I always try to get my hands on them. So when I saw this, I had to buy it. Wasn't an option. I had to buy it, and I did. So we're going to pour it into the glass here and hope that this is as good as many of the other variants I've had from, from them. Yeah, that's right. I'm saving that. I could wipe it down the side with my paper towels, but we're not. I didn't even pay attention. Look at that cap. Did it spill over on any side? I can't see the other side. But if that's like the best pour ever if it didn't spill. Holy shit, that did not spill. That is a wild pour. And I wasn't even paying attention because I was worried about it going down the side of the can. My friends, let's get this up there. This beer looks absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. Outside of the two bubbles, the two bigger bubbles that you see right there, it looks awesome. It looks super creamy, super luscious. Has a 3 fingers of this brown-colored head. You could say espresso-colored head. It looks fantastic. Pitch black in the glass. You can't see through it. My friends, that looks delicious. Just looking at the glass itself. Forget everything else. Looks delicious. But yeah, I wanted to save. It's 12%. And I paid a pretty penny. Actually, I didn't pay that much for this. But I wanted to save it. Right, Harry? So that's why I looked inside a can. I wash my cans. All right, just letting you know. Is that fucked? Am I fucked in the head for washing my cans? I might be. Probably so, but I do. Anyway, nose. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I gotta call a spade, and it's on this guy, because when I picked this can up, it was about 3 months, a little over 3 months old, and now it is a little over 8 months old. It's a little bit of green pepper vibe from the coffee. It happens, right? But in addition to that, there's toasted coconut, there's chocolate. It's giving me German chocolate, or German chocolate cake vibes. Yeah, it's like more of like a dark chocolate with a toasted coconut. The pecans are coming off as a generic nuttiness. There's some nice roasted malt quality. Definitely a light coffee, but that green pepper kind of aged coffee vibe in a beer is here. Shout out to more stuff going by. A little bit of vanilla as well. Now, this isn't barrel aged. It's just the base Speedway Stout. with those other 3 adjuncts, the cacao nibs, the toasted coconut, and the roasted pecans. Has a touch of a metallic note. Like, I say that a lot when it comes to lactose-laden beers, especially like milk stouts. I'd say 50% of the time, I do get like a metallic vibe from the lactose. It's almost like there's lactose in here, but I'm pretty sure there's not. Does it smell like a German chocolate cake? To some degree. It definitely has that toasted coconut, some dark chocolate, for sure. But that green pepper is kind of weird. So it's a tale of 2 beers. One that's definitely faded from being aged over 8 months and the coffee kind of going sideways. But at the same time, it has the German chocolate kind of characteristic you expect. It looks fantastic. It smells pretty solid. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Okay. Took my palate on a roller coaster ride because initial visceral reaction was like, it's good, but it's real sweet with a generic sweetness. There's nothing going on. And then the finish got a little bit of toasted coconut, chocolate, German chocolate cake, for sure. Buying this is lower side of full, 12%, maybe a bit thin, but it's okay. It's not watery or anything, but a bit thin. Shout out to Paul over at PA Brew News, bit thin. The mouthfeel is really nice because it has this mild to moderate carbonation. Yeah, like smack dab in the middle. Bit softer. It also has a nice smooth and creaminess. So there's a smoothness here. There's a creaminess here. A little bit softer. So it has a little bit more of a luscious, pillowy mouthfeel. So I really like the mouthfeel. Body's a bit thin, but it's fine for what it is. The taste. Do one more sip, but I'm on the fence with whether I really, really enjoy it or not. I think it's good. Let's just get that way. I think this is a good beer. But do I thoroughly enjoy it to love it? One more sip and we'll let you know. No, I don't. I don't love this, but I like it. First things first, the green pepper faded old coffee nose in the nose, faded old coffee nose in the nose, the coffee character in the nose. It didn't really carry over to the taste. It doesn't have a huge green pepper vibe in the taste. It doesn't taste like faded coffee. However, there's not a ton of coffee on the palate. There's not a ton of the adjuncts, really. They're more subtle in the taste, which, again, could be from the aging, and it's on me. Forefront is roasted malt, followed by dark like baker's chocolate. And if not baker's chocolate, let's say I haven't used this in a while, a 60-70% cacao bar. So it's dark chocolate character without a huge sweetness, just a little bit of sweetness. It's a medium roasted coffee that's very subtle, mixing in kind of with the roasted malt. As it passes through, that nuttiness hits, and again, I wouldn't tell you roasted pecans whatsoever. I would just say a generic nuttiness. You could say pecans, walnuts, almonds, peanuts, and I don't think you'd be wrong. It just has a generic nuttiness. There's some kind of nutty quality here. And then where I get that coconut has a nice, mild toasted coconut flavor on the back. And that dark chocolate, 60%, 70% cacao bar kind of hits again on the finish. So intertwines to give me German chocolate cake for sure, but it's not that big. It's not that pronounced. And if I was doing this blind, I don't know if I'd necessarily call out German chocolate cake. I'd be like, oh, it has a little bit of toasted coconut and there's some chocolate, but first thing I wouldn't scream would be German chocolate cake. It's a bit of an underlying vanilla, has a nice earthy kind of finish to it. This is, believe it or not, firmly dry, which I think really saves this beer. It's the hero of this beer. Shout out to Kyle over at No Hype Beer Reviews for saying that when a specific characteristic of the beer is the hero. And I think the dryness of this is the hero of the beer because without that, this would be cloying. This would be over the top. It would be I want 4 to 6 ounces and I'm done. As is, I'm going to be able to drink the rest of this, no questions asked. Which brings me to the ABV, 12%. Nice warming in my chest. Nothing really on the palate. But I do know, I should take that back. There's a little bit of an alcohol stringency on the finish. All right, so it doesn't hide it extremely well, but it hides it well enough. But if I was doing this blind, at least 10%, I'd say. Probably closer to 11. I wouldn't say 12. So again, hides it relatively well, but not perfect. What else do I say about this one? Does it taste exact? Would I call this a German chocolate cake Speedway Stout variant? I would not. But keep in mind a couple things. Number one, I'm drinking this just over 8 months old. Okay? And I'll be honest with you, the AleSmith, that Speedway Grand Prix series that I reviewed earlier this year when I was doing like all Imperial beer theme month, a couple of them are really good and a couple of them were misses. So I think when it comes to AleSmith with their like different variants and editions of Speedway Stout, they're hit or miss. I wouldn't say necessarily this is a miss, but it's also not a hit. It's kind of somewhere in between, which I'm okay with. I think this is a good beer. I think it has some good pros to it, a couple cons, but I think you get the gist of what they're going for with this beer. Like German chocolate cake makes sense. Like if you told me it's a German chocolate cake and I didn't know it and I take another sip and I go, all right, I'm looking for the flavors. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of toasted coconut. There's a little bit of dark chocolate. Yeah, I get it. But they didn't nail it. Does that make any sense to anybody out there? So I think this is good, not great. Put it this way, I think this is very good, not great. And I'm going to rate it as such. So Speedway Stout, the German chocolate cake edition, the 2024 release from AleSmith. I'm going to go high 4 out of 5, go 4.05. I think that's a fair score for what I'm drinking in my glass right now. Again, not like an amazing variant from them, but also a pretty damn good one. Price point availability. When I was at the aforementioned Red Wine Brew, I think I paid like $4.25 to like $4.35 for a can of that. Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine like 4-packs are probably in that $16, $17 realm all day, every day. It's 12%. It's Imperial Stout. It has, 4 different adjuncts in it? Yeah, cacao nibs, toasted coconut, roasted pecans, and coffee. Like, for the price point, you can't really argue it, I don't think. Now, after you taste it and you formulate an opinion, would I pay for something for a can of that? I probably would. I think, again, you got to keep in mind, it's 12%. I gave it a 4.05 out of 5. I think it's a fine price point. The availability, this is where I have no idea. We do not see AleSmith here in the Buffalo, New York area. We used to get all their stuff back in the early to mid to late basically in the 2010s, we saw their stuff quite frequently, especially when they would come back in the aforementioned 750 milliliter bottles. And at some point they went away, and they completely went away. So the only way I can get AleSmith stuff easily is when I do go down to Ohio. So I always try to look for some of their beers. And yeah, I'm happy I can still grab them once in a while. But outside of that, I have no idea. Check out their website. They probably have a beer finder. But yeah, anyway, once again, shout out to Anderson over at Ginger Yeti Road Beers for kind of challenging other beer tubers. We'll see if anybody takes them up on reviewing Speedway Stout if they can get it. Like I said, I already reviewed it, so I thought I would review another variant of it. And I'm not disappointed in the least. I'll go drink the rest of this one and really enjoy it. I just wish it was a little bit more intense in both the coconut and the chocolate flavor, because when it's German chocolate cake, I want the chocolate screaming, I want the coconut screaming. That's what makes it German chocolate cake for me personally. So it's a little disappointing from that aspect, but overall, as a beer as a whole, I think it's pretty good. So if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. I'm going to shut this one down, so appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers. Like I said, I have that barrel-aged coffee cake variant that I will review at some point, probably this year. I don't want to wait too long on it because it's coffee cake, bunch of adjuncts, but it is barrel aged, so it was already sitting in the barrel probably for at least 6 months, if not a year. So I'm not too worried about it. Cheers.